noises. Stay tuned next week. It's going to be a banger of an ep.
Are we going to say why it's going to be a banger of an ep?
Yeah, we finally got Sad Radish on the show. Adam.
Sad Radish is going to be live on the ep.
I promised him he could be first interview because he's been supportive since the beginning. He's a cool guy. We have some history. He's nice person.
I'm excited to meet him.
He's getting married. He needs the money.
How much are we paying him?
$2. $2.
The sounds of Tacoma.
Okay, this is going to be...
It's probably just a great American healthcare system at work. It's probably an ambulance.
This is going to be the Bad Brothers vacation to Memphis recap.
Memphis update.
Special.
The Memphis special. The Memphis episode.
How do you want to go through this? Do you want to go through...
chronologically or whatever just comes to mind?
I'll just do...
Let's at least
I got a good place to start.
Okay. Welcome to the Bad Brothers podcast.
Now, you're not going to know where this is going to start, but I'm going to lead you there.
Thanks for
That's what I
listening. Like and subscribe.
Subscribe.
We love when you
YouTube.
leave comments on the Instagram and don't just text Will. So I have to then convey it
He
onward.
screenshots, and then he sends it to me, and then...
Just comment on there so we can see it. Or if it's something you don't want to post on the internet, send it in a DM, and then I'll screenshot it and post it on the internet. But anything you can say to me, you can say to Michael. He won't be offended.
Yeah. And if people are wondering where to go to look for it, send them to the Bad Brothers Pod Instagram, and there's the link tree on the top. If Apple, whatever, and I said if you want it on Google or anything else, any other place you get your podcast, just let me know. But nobody has said anything, so I don't care.
Yep.
But so this is a Memphis recap, and so let's see if you can just guess where I'm going to go. Are you getting a phone call? Oh, I thought I heard something.
We have all the stuff open. It's probably a car.
So there's one funny thing that sort of like intrigued me about there's a certain phenomena about like pinup photography and stuff like that. It's kind of like maybe it's falling out of favor a little bit, but definitely a couple years ago, it was a big deal. It's still a little big deal.
Like the rockabilly type,
yeah,
like 50s pinup.
Yep. Yeah, mm-hmm. In the tattoo world,
yeah,
it's always big.
Definitely.
But so that's perfect because in the tattoo,
big tats, big tits.
In the tattoo world, you just sounded like Rick Glassman.
I know.
In the tattoo world, it's kind of big, but you know who else it's big with? Big people.
Yeah.
See?
It is.
And I was wondering why, and I figured it out on the way here today because I was just thinking about it. Because there's another place where I noticed this phenomena, and it's in boudoir. They're sort of overlapping, related.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of like sensual photography, the pinups
It's
or
like
the
pinup,
boudoir.
It's the pinup minus
Boudoir.
the 50s themes and tattoos.
Yeah, exactly. So that also has the same sort of overlap. There's the beautiful people / maybe like wedding or like do it for your spouse kind of photography. But then there's also bigger people.
BB dubs.
Definitely BB dubs. And so I've always found it curious, and I sort of wondered why.
Why there's a correlation.
Yeah. I guess I don't know why there's a correlation, but I think I know why it happens, because I feel like the pinup or the boudoir, I'll just say boudoir because
We're American.
yeah,
We say croissant.
I say croissantwich. Shout out Burger King. Shout out the King.
Shout out whatever their pride chicken sandwiches.
It's that, the pinup and the boudoir is inherently sort of sexual or sort of
Risque.
but it's maybe not empowering. I think the pinup has a little bit of like sort of empowering but also sort of fun
Yeah.
element to it. So like in and of itself, it's just is. So if you participate in it or take your pictures or dress up or whatever, even if you're not that beauty standard,
Magazine cover.
yes, it's just the essence of doing that.
Brave.
It has sexuality or has sensuality built into it. So it doesn't matter if you're not that picture of whatever.
Yeah.
It's sort of, you get the inherent whatever in it. Maybe?
You keep saying like whatever instead of a word I think you want to say.
Fat.
And it was throwing me off.
No, I don't know what I want to say.
And what does this have to do with Memphis?
Charles Barkley used to say that about San Antonio.
Thickums. What did he say?
Did he say that?
No, what does he
No,
call them?
he
San
says
Antonio women.
They got some big old women down there.
Yeah.
No, what I want to say about that is like just how a certain theme or a certain, like, why is pinup big if you're 300 pounds?
Yeah.
You're either a cute girl with tattoos or a 300-pound person. And those are the people who love taking pinup photos.
Right.
And
roller derby girls.
yeah. And there's just something about it. Why do those people wear that thing? Like, how did it get so?
Yeah.
And I also felt when we were down in Memphis,
Mm-hmm.
I saw some bodysuit. It's like some one piece.
Yep.
There was like
Tight to the body. It's like a
Slip
body
into it.
dressy tight. Some of them were like just skirt on the bottom, right?
Some were skirt on the bottom, but most of them I saw were shorts on the bottom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're shorts on the bottom, but it's like a one piece.
Yeah.
But it's
Like a leotard or a singlet or something.
yes, and it's skin tight.
Oh yeah.
And so
Saw some like netting too.
yeah, so that's what I would say. I would say here's an overlap, or here's a something similar. You might say somebody who's willing to wear a one piece
Singlet.
skin tight singlet bodysuit is some girl who knows her body is just banging, and she
Bodied up.
and she's there to like show it off,
Yeah.
and that's why she would wear that.
Like in like Miami or something. Mr. Worldwide.
And I saw some of those types of people,
I missed that.
some chocolate honeys, but also there was some, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, sort of. There's some opinions that are okay to have and some opinions that are not okay to have.
Yeah.
You're supposed to, there's competing things because you're supposed to allow everybody to think the way they want to think.
Right.
But
Everyone's entitled to their opinion
exactly.
unless it's against mine.
Exactly. So if I say that if you're if I say if I am of the opinion that once past a certain lbs, you probably shouldn't be wearing
BMIs.
you probably shouldn't be wearing the one piece skin tight see-through essentially once that fabric is pulling outfit, then that's my opinion.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
That's my opinion.
One of my favorite memes of all time. But you're not supposed to say stuff like that because it's shaming.
Are we shaming though? What's shame? What is shaming?
It's
someone?
inherent in the thing. Though that's what I'm saying. People take it as inherent as a thing, but as we talked about the last few episodes, we're just being scientific about it.
Yeah, we're big here on vocabulary and, definitions, etymology.
All I know is when I am not at a certain lbs, I don't want to wear certain things.
Right.
Because I don't think it looks good.
I'm feeling like since we went on our trip, I'm got extra.
I didn't gain a single lb.
I don't think I gained a single lb, but I gained an inch or two. However that works
But
out.
once I got back, I was like, I didn't get it. I didn't gain weight. I could go crazy now. I should have. I tried to.
You definitely had most salads consumed out of the family.
I was conscious of it.
And then there was me gorging myself for...
Well, that's the thing. I still tried to partake.
You did.
I still had cinnamon rolls. I still had ice cream. I still had whatever, all the things we had.
But I had like more of all
Nuts.
those things. I had both of the ice cream pies. I had in one sitting.
Oh, yeah, both. Yeah, that was good.
And then I bought Reese's Pieces at the airport. All that type of good stuff.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you did that. Yeah, so, anyways, I just wanted to share my boudoir pinup / opinion with the bodysuit because we went down to Beale Street.
We still don't know the causation.
Yeah. There's correlation. We don't know causation. We went down to Beale Street, which is the
Home of the Blues.
home of the Blues, and now it's also right across the street from a basketball stadium.
Yeah.
So, but it's a place that's...
It's like the
where it's poppin'.
Memphis version of Bourbon Street in New Orleans. So it's like that, but like a fraction of it.
Yeah, so when we were down there that night, we definitely saw some outfits.
Oh, yeah. And there were definitely 200 cops there.
We also saw some in the airports and whatever, but anyway, it's just an observation I made.
Yeah. We're just taking in observations and information and trying to establish a hypothesis. It's the scientific method.
I'm just saying, if it was me, I wouldn't, but honestly, more power to them. They probably have a freer mind than I do.
Right.
More comfortable.
Right. They probably aren't, have a podcast talking about going to therapy.
Do I have that?
Didn't we talk about that?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I do have an update last week. Oh, wait. I started taking my pill on the trip.
Oh, yeah.
The first day I took the pill, and the last 2 weeks, it's been good. It's made a difference.
You feel better?
Yes. I don't feel quite as on edge, but the first 2 weeks, oh, good.
Someone said they liked after Mark Normand, you had the ice cubes.
You know what? Whoever said that, I actually liked that too. Just the noise of it.
That might have been Big Nate's trading cards.
Anyway.
That was also the one where it's like I was like passing out already. So then there were added drinking sounds, just made it seem that much more.
Yeah, you were laying down by then. Okay, so we were down on Beale Street, and also, so by the time, so we got down there kind of earlier than.
Yeah, that
I
was,
mean, it was still hopping by the time we got there.
oh yeah.
But by the
It's
time,
also a holiday weekend.
but by the time we were leaving, it was really hopping,
Oh yeah.
and they
That
were
was at like 10.
and they were wanting people in to make sure to keep firearms out, and they're like Will said, there's like 200 cops down there.
Yeah.
I mean,
every side street had like 10 cop cars on it, and then like a mob of cops just standing there.
oh yeah, there were so many out there. I saw them mostly just talking to each other and laughing with each other.
Yeah.
Not keeping an eye on.
And they were real
anything that
big
was
on the
happening.
backwards hat.
Real big, yeah.
I noticed.
So there was a large amount of police, but there was also a large amount of children.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay, do you say it then?
There was also a large amount of children.
Wait, just talk about going into the bar we went into.
Okay, so I was trying to scope out a place that had...
Also reveal it with Julia's exclamation of how we knew there was...
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, so I was trying to
Because that's what made it funnier.
scope out a place, and...
Will did a bunch of research before we went down there, so he's like, "This, we could
like-
go to this bar because this band plays. We
Yeah.
could go to this bar. This band plays at this time. We could do this. So we got to go down there and figure out which place we want to get." So
Yeah, and I figured it might be crowded because the holiday, blah, blah, blah. So we try this one place. They have this band there. It's been there for like 17 years or something. They got good recommendations. They've opened for big people, blah, 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 blah. So go there.
they were great.
They were amazing. And
It was called the Rum Boogie Cafe.
I knew that. The Rum Boogie Cafe.
We didn't say it.
I was
We got to give some
getting
details
there.
for the listeners.
If you're in Memphis, Beale Street, Rum Boogie Cafe, I give it a thumbs up. It's not the biggest, but also that whole strip is not the biggest. You know,
Right.
Like I said, it's a fraction of Bourbon Street, but you still get the energy, just smaller. And so, awesome live band that's got like full band, guitar, drums, bass, piano, singer, trumpet, saxophone, like everything. They play the funk, old stuff. They're playing some pop hits, but kind of funked up, and some bluesy stuff, home of the blues. And so we go in there, and we, having been for the purpose there to visit our sister for her graduation, we're like, oh, let's go. They have an upstairs section. Maybe it'll be a little quieter, and if we can talk if we need to, because it was rocking downstairs. Could probably not hear yourself.
Yeah, because the bar was like narrow.
Yeah, it's long and narrow.
It was long and narrow, and so the band was all along one wall.
Yeah.
And then there was basically only like 6 feet.
I think it did actually go around, but then it's like you still
Yeah.
wanted to see the band.
Right.
Didn't want to be completely separated. So they had like upstairs balcony area, and we're like, oh, well, at least the speaker's not right in your ear up there. So we went upstairs, and we're sitting on one side, and we're sitting there, and then our sister said, hey, they're playing SpongeBob over there. Look over, and there's a TV like built into the wall, and it's like an old boob tube, as some people would say,
I would.
because it looked like a boob. I've heard that.
It was a flat screen, but go ahead.
Oh, I thought it was an old one.
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought it was built-in old TV. That's what it seemed like. And then there's just probably 6, 7 kids there.
It was
like
weird.
a family birthday was going on over there. And so there's just these kids watching.
But it was all the lead up to it. So we get down to Beale Street.
Yeah.
We're walking up. We're behind we walk up with a bodysuit lady.
Yeah.
And so, and you look around and you do see the chocolate honeys out there.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, like right when we went into this bar, that person who was like walking in or checked it out. I don't think they went in front of us, was wearing like some sort of netting sort of thing, but was wearing like the G string. So it was, you were just looking at her butt.
Oh, I missed that.
What? That was like right in front of you.
How'd I miss all the butts?
That's how much Will loves music.
Yeah.
Wow. Should you like music more than butts? I don't know. Maybe I'm the one in the wrong. I just happened to notice.
Yeah.
Maybe I just felt like you were in control of where we go. You were in control of where we were going in the music.
I was trying to make sure we like paid the, paid the fee.
So I was just sort of following. I had eyes to roam.
Yeah.
But I didn't have to roam that far because 2 steps ahead of us was a butt.
Yeah.
Exposed butt. So that's the whole thing. You're walking down Beale Street. It's like there's street performers. There's shirts off. There's people
drinks in hand. You can
pawing
have
at each other. You're
on the street.
You're drinking on the street. There's cops everywhere.
It's dark.
Lots of skin. It's
dark outside. The sky is dark.
Yes. So there was just a lot going on. It was very adult, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
So then to walk into a bar and then to be sitting 20 feet away from a bunch of kids watching SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Upstairs in a bar.
And there was another bar front upstairs for ordering. So it wasn't like a separate non-bar area. It was still the bar.
Yeah, it was strange. And I definitely think Julia wanted to watch SpongeBob more than she wanted to.
You think so?
Maybe. It was enticing, I will say.
Were you a little overwhelmed? Or
it was just
kind of like out of your
actually
zone?
This was my feeling of that night in particular.
Mm-hmm.
I think I kind of said this that night, but it's sort of like I would have felt like I don't think anything was wrong with that night, but I just think it was just sort of weird. It's like, if we're going to watch music, then let's watch music. Or if we're going to try to talk, then let's go to a place where we can talk. And so it wasn't necessarily bad. It was a good effort to try to do
something,
all those things. But that place that we happened to go to, it was so loud that...
And I think all the places on that street would have been loud. Because that's what Julia and I experienced had in... when I went in November. And so that's like why I tried to go to that other place out off the street,
right.
But they were closed for whatever. Yeah, was that like 10?
Yeah, it was weird. 10:30.
And that was weird.
It was just weird. If it was just chaotic, it wouldn't have mattered that much. But I sort of felt bad a little bit because it was like, if we were there for Julia, it sort of felt like if we went and like we're just there to watch music, then we would all have that experience together. Like, hey, we watch music. It almost felt like we were missing out on talking because it was so. It was sort of like in between.
Yeah, and I was thinking like we'd be able to. It's unfortunate that I don't remember it being like that when I was there before. It was like every place was closing early on a Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, because what night did we go out? Friday, I think. Friday.
Yeah. Because Julia and I went down there, listened to the music that was super loud. We were there for a while, and then went to that other restaurant off of the strip, and hung out there for a while. So yeah, it was a little different, but
yeah, it was cool though.
Shared experience.
Shared experience. What is that from?
The Roots.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So it was cool. And I wouldn't have minded if we just watched music, but or like listen to a band or something like that. But
yeah, it did feel like we were like missing out on talking. I felt like
I did, but also I did like that we all have enough music experience that that we can sort of talk about that. This sort of an easy subject for all of us, which I like.
Yeah. That was
We've all
fun.
done music in some capacity.
Some kind
Shoot! I was going to add it to the next episode, but I can add it to this episode. The song.
The song?
Interruption. Speaking of music,
I don't know.
I got my computer hooked up and everything.
What song?
Big Nate's.
Oh, I thought you were just going to pop it in. Big Nate's trading cards.
Okay, so we interrupt this program.
This episode's brought to you by Big Nate's Trading Cards.
We offer one service here on this here podcast, and that is if you give us free stuff. It started.
What?
Oh, I turned it on there. What are you looking at?
The fan that's moving by itself.
I think it's windy.
Okay. It's behind me, so I just noticed it.
Okay. I don't know what this will play in because I'm already got QuickTime going.
It's going to blast my ears out.
Do you think it will?
I don't know. If not, you just cut it out and add it in.
Okay. One of the services we offer on this podcast is if you give us something free, you get a jingle.
Yeah.
So Big Nate stole some stuff from...
Knows. He got it.
But he also gave me... He procured some stuff from one of his jobs, but also from his personal work, Big Nate's Trading Cards.
Yeah, he's
also has given some free stuff, which I appreciate.
Landon
and will appreciate.
Landon appreciates.
And my children appreciate. Prindle Ridge Farm, we appreciate them. Mark's Barbershop, appreciate them. Big Nate's Trading Cards, appreciate them. And so I got a little... Let's see if this will play.
There you go, yeah. A little more.
He'll trade you some stuff. Trade you some stuff. Trade you some stuff for your money. Big Nate, big old Nate.
Big Nate's Trading Cards, open Thursday to Sunday.
Judson Street, Gig Harbor, Washington. Judson Street, is that what it is? I think so. Look them up. Link to the link in this podcast. Link in the show notes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So also that so I had like a 50s kind of one at first.
Yeah.
And then that changed into like an operatic kind of one.
Mm-hmm.
And then one time I was just like singing it in my car, just trying to get like a vibe for it. Opera. And then I said big old Nate one time. And then
and that made it
then I had to be like, okay, this is big old Nate now. So then you got a cowboy singing out on the range. So if you have a business that wants to give us free stuff, or if you know of a business who wants to give us any amount of free stuff,
Spiros,
big or small, like if you're Spiros and all you want to do is give us one free pizza one time, I'll write you a jingle. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, back to the show. So let's see, what else?
So we traveled with our grandmother. I feel like this needs to get brought up.
It was good. It's hard. I mean, I see her. I see, my experience with Grandma Norma, visiting her in the whatever care place, after she had her stroke and in the hospital. And Tammy's grandma is in her 90s.
Oh, yeah.
She has dementia and everything really bad, and it's been sort of eye-opening to sort of think of like, it's just kind of, they say like sobering thoughts to know like, oh, you are, if you get to live to that age, your body is going to break down, like
it's kind of just like the facts of life.
Yeah, exactly. Like you carried, you wheeled her, bag everywhere just for, not that she can't do it necessarily, but it would have been easy, like difficult. Yeah. Like, or the Dallas airport, just walking we were at the very end of one of those terminals, and it was so far.
That was so far from me.
And yeah, and that was hard for her. And I feel bad about, one of the reasons she doesn't want to come over to the house is because we have stairs and everything. That was the same with last time. And, I don't feel, she always says like, sorry, you guys had to wait for me and all that stuff. And obviously you don't feel that way at all. I don't have any bad feeling. I was, I'm never like, you have to wait. Of course not. But people are like that, and those people are annoying, but I'm not. But if anything, I just try to make a mental note, like, what kind of old person do I want to be, like, open to help and still be considerate and, try to trust people when they're giving me advice on how to help me and stuff like that. But it's got to be. But then I see people who don't want to take advice or don't want to take help. And I know it must be hard, but you just have to kind of think about it now.
Yeah, definitely. Should we wait for this guy to leave or no? It's fine.
No, it's real.
This is real life. This is the sounds of Tacoma.
So, anyways, I don't know what I thought it'd be. I mean, it's kind of a bummer. There's certain things she couldn't do, or whatever. Like when we all went down to the park and stuff like that. But
I was glad that she got to go, especially after the last year, because like her being in an old person apartment complex, they were like really locked down. They're like no guests allowed, and I think there's something weird about the store. Like they would only let so many people like go to the store at a time or something.
Oh,
at the very beginning.
I didn't hear about that.
I don't know. It just seemed, it's like a lot more strict than any of us. We could pretty much do what we wanted.
Yeah, I remember she told me, she's like, why are they being so strict and whatever? And then like, a couple of sentences later, she's like, oh yeah, last year 18 people went to the hospital with the flu and so many people died.
And that was just a normal.
That was just on a normal non-COVID year. It's like, okay, then I think, you definitely should be careful.
Yeah.
But anyways, I thought it went good. I was actually a little bit worried about that setup.
Yeah.
Not that it was an inconvenience, not that it was whatever. It's just,
nope. Yeah.
There's just things to think about and potential whatevers.
I learned something on this during this travel time. Flight to Dallas, flight to Memphis, back and forth, blah, blah, blah. Learned I never want to sit in an aisle seat again.
Oh, aisle seat is the best seat, so you're wrong. Aisle seat is the best seat, so you're wrong.
My phone just updated to large font.
I know, sorry.
I got distracted. The aisle seat is the worst seat.
Aisle seat is the best seat. Go ahead.
Unless you know the person in the middle seat and you can kind of lean into them. For me, if I had $1 for every time the back of my arm got hit by a hip, a hand, a shoulder, a purse, a bag, the drink cart, I would, could have paid for my flight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not a large man in terms of
You are though.
girth.
You are though.
Am I?
No, not girth. Sorry, you said girth, but I was saying large.
I'm I'm tall, but I'm not like spilling over the seats. I don't.
Your arms are about to rip your sleeves.
you know, and so I just had like the edge of my elbow on the, but I felt like my shoulder kept getting hit, like tricep shoulder area, just, and it was the worst.
No. To me,
Everyone that went to the bathroom hit my shoulder. Every time the cart went by, hit my shoulder.
just reminds me I'm alive.
Not when I'm trying to sleep.
You weren't trying to sleep. You were trying to watch Mark Norman.
I know, because like I can't sleep on the plane because it's so uncomfortable.
It is uncomfortable. I wish I could be either 5'10" or 6'5".
Oh, that was like when I went to Wisconsin, Lauren, in the chairs like this, feet up, curled up in a ball, like asleep on the against the window. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah, those people are annoying.
I just wanted to while she's asleep, just
no,
so
aisle seat is the best seat. I love like being able to stretch my legs over there and everything.
No, I want to get in. I want to get to the window seat, and I want to hug the wall, and I don't want to move. I don't want to go to the bathroom. I don't want to do anything. I just want to stay in my little hole.
No, because I know I'm not going to fall asleep. I know I'm going to have to be uncomfortable the whole time, so I might as well just be there on the aisle, be able to stretch, deal with a cart going by every once in a while, meet a stranger, whatever.
The real best seat to me is the one behind the exit row when they don't have the seat in front of you. You can stick your legs out.
Yeah.
That's the best.
Anyways, all that went pretty good.
Oh, yeah. We didn't have any traveling problems.
I don't think so, but it was funny because we flew through Dallas, and so I didn't think about this before we left, and but Dallas is where Dude Perfect is from.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. And, well, yes and no. Dallas is where they're from.
Oh.
And so Dude Perfect, I mean, if you don't know who Dude Perfect is, come on. They're the guys who do the trick shots on YouTube. Just a gazillion views.
Sports trick shots. But
then they also like have done bigger videos than that. They just did a South Africa trip. And they went on safari and stuff like that. So, and they're funny. And once you watch all their videos, they have like a more produced show that they do once a month. And it has like actual like segments, and they're just funny. There's the one that's long, that one that's produced. It's like a half hour. And we actually, like, Tammy and I sit down and watch that with the boys. Yeah. Because it's actually like funny and entertaining. But so, yeah, we flew through Dallas, and yeah, Landon's like, oh, Dude Perfect's from Dallas. He's like, well, actually, Cody, he's not from Dallas. He lives in Frisco. Oh, and I'm like,
Frisco Freeze.
Which Frisco is a suburb of Dallas, but just the fact that he knows like which suburb that each of them lives in was cracking me up. Because then, on our first day there, we went to the Bass Pro Shop. Now, most people don't know, because why would you? But in Memphis, downtown, there was the old University of Memphis, I believe, basketball stadium.
Oh, I thought it was the NBA team. But that's not based in a lot.
Well, maybe they shared it.
Oh,
maybe they shared it before, and then it became the college team. Or I don't know.
Either way, it's a big pyramid.
It's a big pyramid. That's what it looks like. Looks like a big. The outside is
metal.
So it's this big silver pyramid, and what happened is it got abandoned, and Bass Pro Shops bought it, and they just stuck a giant Bass Pro Shops logo on the side, and inside is like a Bass Pro Shops Disneyland,
and just the ground floor. Besides
there's one little level because they had a restaurant in there too.
But it's not like going up the full pyramid. No.
Yeah, so when you walk in, it just looks like, well, it looks like a lagoon. Like you're walking into a lagoon, and there is legit like water in the bottom. There was a giant sturgeon.
Oh yeah.
And a bunch of fish in there, in like 2 feet of water swimming around, and there's little planks, going over the water, and there's just like Bass Pro Shop stuff that you can buy, shirts and whatever.
All the normal Bass Pro Shop stuff is there.
But then there's also like a hotel that's to the right. You see there's like a restaurant. There's a big aquarium in the middle.
Shooting range.
A little shooting range thing. But the deal is that Dude Perfect filmed one of those 30-minute special videos there at that Bass Pro Shops. Bass Pro Shop. And so we're walking up to it, and Landon's like, I'm on sacred ground.
Yeah. He's like, wait a minute. Dude Perfect's been here.
He loved it.
He didn't really know where we were going until we got there.
Yeah, so he's
like, yeah, this is sacred ground. This is where Cody drove the NASCAR.
It was like a perfect flying through Dallas and then going there first, since that was the first thing we did. That was like the most perfect way we could have started the trip, because it just put everything on a good foundation,
Yeah.
So we went there, and then you can go. So they have this big elevator you can take. There's a little bar restaurant thing and observation deck on top. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, you got to see quite a bit.
But yeah, that was a funny start to the trip. I just thought it was so funny. I've still been thinking about it ever since. He's like, Cody lives in Frisco, not Dallas, or whichever one of them.
Yeah.
Tall guy, beard, twins, purple hoser. See, there's the tall guy, there's the beard guy, there's the twins, and then there's a purple hoser.
Is that like he's Canadian?
That's what I said, but it's no. They just called him that one time, and it sort of stuck.
And he tends to wear purple shirts.
Yeah, I guess.
Like the Wiggles?
Garrett. He's a redhead guy, but he's bald now. He's stuffed up. He sounds like he's stuffed up all the time. One of those guys.
Deviated septum or something.
Yeah.
As always,
Yep. Allergies, maybe.
I'm Mr. Squidward.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
Landon's favorite, though, so I can't disparage him too much.
Or you can, because that's your opinion.
I know. That's the weird thing. You should be able to disparage people all you want.
Free speech. Sticks and stones break their bones, but words never hurt them.
I know.
But like I said, I was eating tons and tons of food. Every morning, I start the coffee pot, warm up the old cinnamon roll. That was good. I love having a sweet pastry with my coffee in the morning. It just sets the day off right. It could be old-fashioned donut. That's my go-to. But it could be anything.
I've been drinking coffee more, and I think I like coffee at night better.
Yeah. The old
If it's decaf.
the old night brew.
I could have calf, but
The night brew.
something about it.
Witch's brew. So yeah, it's like cinnamon rolls in the morning. Then it's like barbecue. What else did I have? We had tons of barbecue. We had the nacho taco salady whatever.
Yeah.
If you wanted to make it more salady, you could. If you wanted to make it more nachos, you could. But all this stuff was there.
We went to Moe's, which is like a Chipotle place.
Oh yeah, I had a huge burrito.
Lasagna.
What else? I feel like there's one other dinner. We had barbecue, and then what else did we do for dinner?
Taco salad. Barbecue.
I guess I was actually only
And
there
then-
for 2 dinners, so yeah.
No, lasagna.
Oh, lasagna, yeah.
Yeah, those are
Lasagna,
three.
barbecue, taco, whatever, yeah. And so I was just eating a ton of food all the time. Then there's one thing that my mom knows is one of my favorites. It's Dad's bacon and egg gravy, biscuits and gravy.
Because we talked about it before we left, because we talked about bacon, and then we had bacon snacks right now.
Yep.
And
bacon. Yeah, so it has bacon and eggs in it. But so like here's like your sausage gravy. You'd have biscuits and gravy. This has bacon and eggs in the
It's
gravy.
better, yeah.
It's good.
Hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, they're like hard-boiled eggs. So you get some, and they're chopped up or whatever.
I like it better than sausage gravy.
Yeah, it's about even for me with Uncle Dave's gravy.
Like I said, we don't have bacon at home that much. And so it was, did you notice when Dad cooked the bacon, because the kitchen is right below where we slept,
Oh yeah,
all that bacon smell just came
Went
up
up
and
the
settled
stairs.
in that
Yeah.
room.
yeah. But so I was like, he was cooking it up, it's smelling good. I was having my coffee or whatever, and then we all sit down at the table for breakfast, and he brings over the bowl.
But also, how awesome is that room out there?
What room?
I would be out there all the time.
Oh, the sunroom.
Yeah, they have a sunroom. It's all like screened in.
Yeah. Well, if we lived in a place that was warm 70% of the year.
It's just so awesome out there.
Yeah.
Big old table.
That's where we ate most meals.
Sits like 8 people.
Yeah. And so we sit down for breakfast, and he brings out the biscuits, brings out the whatever, milk and orange juice, and then he brings out the big old bowl of gravy. And what is this bowl? None other than the puke bowl. As you may remember from probably episode 4 or something, we talked about why do families have a puke bowl that every kid uses when they're sick, but also happens to be like the popcorn bowl or whatever. And so still now, however long Mom and Dad have been married, 30 some years, right?
Yep.
Still have the puke bowl.
37.
And still using it for food purposes.
And they said, hey, does this look familiar?
No, I think I brought
Yeah,
it up.
because you brought it up. Oh, the puke bowl. And then Dad said, yeah, that probably looks familiar because you had that bowl when we got Julia.
Yep. I was sick when we picked up Julia from the airport when she first came to America. That just reminded me of, it's like one of the things where it's like you realize your parents are getting older is I went with Mom to the store, and we passed the church, and she's like, oh, that church right there, that pastor, he died of COVID. And I was just kind of like, I'm like, oh, that's too bad. And went on. Then that night or whatever, we went somewhere. Oh, and then we went with Dad to the Bass Pro Shops, and we passed by the church at the end of the street, and he's like, oh, that church right there, that pastor, he died of COVID. And it was like the exact same words, like speed, tempo. It was like all the exact same. And then I was just like, oh, yeah. I wasn't like, Mom already told me. I just let it go. But it was just like, oh, they're just living their little life about to be empty nesters. But that was kind of funny.
That was funny. Yeah, puke bowl shows up. You know what? I started thinking about that in the last couple of days because Tammy and I, Tammy just got some dishes off we have like a Buy Nothing Port Orchard page, which Tammy is obsessed with. And we got some dishes, and they look like old people dishes.
Corel.
She thinks they look like
hip.
Boho or whatever.
Yeah.
They just look like old people dishes. But they're fine. They're fine. They're fine, Tammy. But I started thinking...
They serve their purpose.
You can eat off them, okay? But I started thinking like, oh, we're going to start having more things or more like decorations or whatever that we're just going to have the rest of our lives.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's some of the stuff that Mom and Dad have. It's like, they got it when I was 15, and then that's just it.
Or they got it when we were...
Or whatever,
when I wasn't even born.
Yeah, so, you know what I mean?
And that's why yeah.
And let me just tell you that, so, I don't really know how to get into this, but speaking of Dad,
update
Now,
because we talked about it.
I tried to share this story with you, and you were not able to corroborate the story at all, which I just find so surprising.
Still can't.
It is one of the biggest impacts on my life, and it's one of the reasons why being around Dad is, well, I shouldn't say it's awkward because that is weird with what the story is, but it brings up angry feelings.
Instead of underlying, you feel it when you're around him. It's like an underlying nervousness or like a
No. It's not about that. So it's about bending over and you get a hand in your butt or a finger in your butt or a foot in your butt. You get a goosing. But it's in your crack. It's not somebody pinching your butt. I guess that's a goosing.
Oh,
it's a snaking.
I never heard the goosing term until recently, like in the last couple of years. But it's a big, technically it's a big trend on like TikTok of wives doing it to their husbands.
Goosing?
Like, yeah, they'll be like, the husband like never wants to bend over in the kitchen because he's afraid of getting the old thumb up the rear or something.
Okay, yeah, whatever the term is, yeah, it's a finger around your booty hole.
Yeah, some sort of jabbing motion towards your anus.
It's not sexual. Well, I guess maybe technically it's sexual harassment.
So
but
yeah, with the trend on TikTok, there's been people trying to say, which I'm not denying, they can have their opinion. It's like if it's unwanted, if it's like unwanted
right.
and then whatever.
Yeah, I'm not going to that's what I'm saying. I was about to say it's awkward, but I didn't want it to go into that scenario. It's just one of those annoying things. And it's one of the things where it's like, oh, what was it last night? Tammy was just telling me a story. And I was just like, oh, that wouldn't be like a dad to, make his whole family uncomfortable for the sake of his own enjoyment or something like that. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what it was, because that's such a dad thing to just like have everybody hate him, but he's laughing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it is. It's just like, if I would have had great feelings about my childhood but I get goosed every time I bend over, it's just like, haha, oh, you know.
That's like,
oh, Dad.
Yeah, people be like, oh, yeah, we always do this to each other, like a family. I've heard of like people like that, like, oh, they always do that to each other. I don't think I've ever done that to somebody.
That's what I brought up to Mom, and I was like, do you remember this, or are you into this at all? And she just goes, that's what his family did all the time. But even with Poppy and Grandma Norma and stuff, that's what they did. And I was just like, ugh, because and here's how it came up, is that we were spending our first day. So yeah, we were spending our first day.
Bass Pro Shop.
We went to the Bass Pro Shop, and then afterward we did a total dad activity.
Yes.
Which on this place called Mud Island, which is this tiny little strip island place, at the end
in the river,
they have a little convention center, which is all abandoned or whatever. And they have this, whatever, what would you call it?
I would call it a topographical water fixture.
That's exactly a topographical water fixture
that explains the Mississippi River flowing from wherever it comes from in Minnesota to New Orleans.
And so it's this little thing. It's only ever about a foot deep, but
and like
it's
3 inches wide.
3 inches wide, but it does have a little bit of topography around the edges.
It goes up and down depending on how the river really flows.
You can see the cliffs through the area.
We can post a pic. I got lots of pics.
There's other little stops of like what cities are nearby, and Dad's like, this highway bridges. Through.
Yeah. He's like, I've
whatever.
been on this bridge.
And so, but it was long. I mean, it's probably, what did he say? 200 yards long, but winding.
Oh yeah. To walk
300?
the whole thing and back took a while. We're probably there like at half an hour.
Well, we were going slow because it's a dad thing. Because, I mean, if it was Landon walking through, he'd be like, okay, I get it. And I was a little bit, there was a couple spots that were interesting.
Yeah.
But it was.
And also all the little like reader board things that gave fun information, they were in the process of replacing. So like the old ones they hadn't replaced, you could barely read. Some didn't have a thing on them. And then there were a couple new ones. They were literally there that day replacing them. So
Yeah.
some of the like historical information we didn't get.
Yeah, but it was total dad activity. But then afterwards, we went to take a picture at the. What I really wanted to do was for Landon to be able to. You know how everyone's. Well, it's cool now still, but to say you visited this state or that state or whatever. There's a bridge, that goes right out of downtown Memphis, across the Mississippi. You're into Arkansas, and it would be like a 5-minute drive, 30-second drive, But that is the bridge, if you've seen on the news, where they found the big crack in the, well, it's not a crack, big
Literally separated.
fissure.
Yeah. Separated into two pieces.
In the steel beam. And so that bridge is all shut down, which snarls traffic on the other bridge. And so it would have been cool. So when we were going down there, I wanted to go into Mississippi and go over into because my parents live 10 minutes from
Mississippi is the corner of Tennessee, so you can go 4 different directions and still go in a different state.
And I wanted to be able for him to say he went into Arkansas, but he couldn't because traffic was too crazy there. But anyway, we were taking a picture down by the river, by that bridge, and Landon was putting his arms out. I'm the king of the world. He doesn't know that movie because I wouldn't want him to see the car sex scene yet with the hand on the window because he's not quite old enough, and he might have to leave the room like I did when my parents wanted to watch it and it was on VHS, and you actually had to rent 2 VHSs because it was too long to watch it, but I had to leave the room.
I remember that day.
And so he had his hands out taking a picture, but then he also bent over once, and Dad, who has seen Landon only a handful of times because they come up once a year.
Yeah.
And then when we FaceTime, Dad's usually just on his iPad. I have to say, Dad, do you want to talk this time? And sometimes he does. Lately, he's been wanting to, but usually he's just on his iPad.
We could throw in Landon's quote here.
He's 2 feet away. Yeah, because on a week before we left, he's like, Grandpa Scott is so awesome. He just lays on the couch all the time.
That was his big takeaway.
And that's usually what he does. And I guess, what else has he got to do? I guess. And so that's what he does most of the time, even when we're FaceTiming. And so he's only seen him a handful of times, but goosing is just so ingrained in my dad's personality that his grandchild that he hasn't seen in a few years, he's only seen a few times in his life, who was scared to fall asleep in his house by himself when we were out.
Not because of this.
On Beale Street. Not because of this, but I'm just saying that is his level of comfortability with his grandparents. He's never been to Tennessee before.
Right.
My dad feels so comfortable with goosing that we've been in Tennessee less than 24 hours, and he gooses my firstborn child.
My firstborn child. You have to say it like that. Oh, boy.
And I had flashbacks. I'm like,
day,
he's going to hate you in 20 years.
And I still to this day do not have a remembrance of a goosing.
Oh, I got... Yeah.
Maybe my brain
you blocked it out. Like when your parents get divorced. And
maybe I just got really tight buns.
You couldn't get in there.
Buns of steel.
Well, I don't have loose buns.
Says the guy that got goosed all the time.
Luke's Buns. That
Can
was
we
my
do?
nickname
Can we
in
do an
high school.
actual snap here and snap back?
Wait, we need to check the time.
Because I think we're pretty. Judging by my bladder, we're getting close to the end of the time.
Oh my gosh, we're so long on this one.
I knew it.
Okay, extra episode this week.
Yeah.
Don't know what day.
Okay. I have to pee.
Like and subscribe.